YouTube by Steve. I'm about to put the link in the chat. Hey. There we go. Link is in the chat room. Let's get in here. Let's get in here. We're going to talk it tonight. Yeah. We're going to talk it tonight. Let's get hot. Let's get hot. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. This is Financial Literacy 101 tonight on your Cigar Talk. We're going to be talking about things. We're going to be talking about, I left an open-ended question. Either you belong to a particular group or you don't belong to a particular group. And you really don't have to choose. I'm being saying everybody clicked in. But we're going to get into the discussion. We're going to get into those topics about all these different groups that divide. And I'm going to tell you that divide really isn't bad as you think, but you have to live by a code. See, we can be divided in all the groups, but these are the groups that divide us and keeps us so divided we can't do business together, so divided we can't live together, or we're killing each other. Good evening, everyone. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. I'm glad to see everybody this early. I know I'm early today. Going out with some buddies later on. But nonetheless, let's have this discussion and see where people's minds are after this. So this evening, I'm going to have a buddy on, and I won't give too much information away about who he is and essentially what he's a part of, but we're going to have a discussion on the different groups that we have in our community. Earlier, we were talking about how it's not a black or white thing, it's a good or evil thing. And me and him, we disagree, right? An intelligent disagree. But when we look at all of these particular groups, there's one thing that we do agree on. A bunch of them are bullshit. When you think about whether it be a religious sector or the black Israelites, the black Hebrews, the black this, the black blah, 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 the black Jewish. If you notice, is one thing that all of these groups, religious or not, because Shade Room may be a YouTube channel, but it's a group, and people have certain followings. Have you noticed all of these sects out here, even the one that I say I belong to, which is FBA, Foundation of Black American? Would you be a black native, a black Indian, a black Native American Indian? Some people are like, oh, we're not Pan-Africanists, we're Pan-Americans. Okay. And I'm not disputing any of that. But the point I'm making is, when we look at these things, ladies and gentlemen, what's the one thing that all of these people, all of these groups have in common? What are some of the things? Division. Division. You know, if I say I'm a foundational Black American and you're like, oh, well, I'm into Pan-Africanism, and I'm like, well, I believe that too. Well, you got to be one or the other, brother. What? I can't be both? You got to believe. And then what happens is we're divided. If you're a black Muslim, you're praying 5 times a day, and you're a Christian, why does that divide you? All of these groups were implemented in society for division. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not smoking on it, but I am just featuring it tonight. We have the Fat Bottom Betty. It's not infused, but it has sweet aromas, a mild chocolate flavor. This is medium to bold for me. I probably would do a full cut or a V cut on this particular one. But I'm finishing off a cigar that we were doing last time we were here, was the Upman Cigar. Also, this evening, I'll be enjoying YouTube iced tea. Now, if this wasn't YouTube iced tea, this would be Balvenie 21 in a Portwood. That's Balvenie 21 in a Portwood, but this is simply YouTube iced tea. It is sweet. Next, the featuring candle for tonight. Last Call. This is one of my favorites. If you notice, I love this particular brand. This is Last Call. Now, this company I absolutely love called Manly Indulgence. Every man, and I'm not a spokesperson, I'm not promoting anybody, but this is the one company, okay? This is the one company that you absolutely, as a man, you want to get your candles from, okay? I'm not advertising, but these are really like smooth smell. You ever had like a really nice cologne? That's what this is. All right, let me light this bad Billy up. Again, this is Last Call. There we go. All right, we got that going. Got the cigar going now. About these groups, and I'm gonna put this in the chat again in case there's anybody out there who missed it. This is the link to join me. I'm waiting for one of my brothers to come over here. I might have to grab my phone, but that is the link. All right, let's see. Born Master's my man got the Kevin Samuels dude hickey in the back. that right there I've had for a long time, but hey, whatever. Kevin Samuels is not the only one who uses it. All right, we got Sean in the room. All right, we're still waiting for some people. But now let's get into the discussion. When I go to these particular websites, ladies and gentlemen, and I see Black History Studies, right? Now, they're talking about the history. They're talking about the history of the Moors in Spain. Basically, Africans during that time were called Moors. And they're just talking about the story. But here's the thing, though. At one point in time, we were all considered Moors worldwide. And then that terminology changed throughout time. We was called Moors. We were called Nubian. We were called, what's the other? We called Negra, Negro, like all of these particular terms till we got to the term Black. Now, everybody is using this term Black. Everybody is using this term Black. Now, I wonder prior to slavery, or not, no, let's not even do that. I wonder if Africans call each other Black in Africa. I mean, before colonization. I wonder if Africans used to call each other Black prior to colonization. I'm pretty sure the answer is no. What is the point I'm making with this? As a society, in our community, we've gotten worse. We've gotten more divided. Now, I'm talking about division on a very compounding scale, right? Division is little as minuscule as two guys on the internet arguing back and forth, okay? Arguing back and forth. Now, he said device not connected. Hey, brother, I believe your device is not connected, okay? Your device is not connected. You might have to go back out and come back in, but you are doing it the right way. But we're so divided that we have all of these rules and we have people fighting on the internet. Now, I've talked about this before. Kwame Brown was speaking about the issues he speaks about since around 2015 on Facebook. Kwame Brown used to always talk about the community, kids, right? Then all of a sudden, the dominant society and their agenda push other basketball players, and this is my perspective and my opinion, to continue to speak on Kwame Brown for whatever reason. Kwame Brown, after 20 years, comes out and start retaliating. He's like, hey, for 20 years, I let you talk bad about me outside of basketball, and I'm tired of it. And he started revealing what's going on. Now, ever since then, anybody who has essentially talked bad about Kwame Brown, he has been retaliating. which is his choice. And I believe, brother, you say quiet for 20 years. I'm surprised you didn't say something sooner. I was about to say do something sooner, but you get what I'm saying. But nonetheless, here's the point. Now, people are just attacking him, and he's just, retaliating in all the views. The major picture I'm painting is division. Kwame Brown is speaking a message of unity, but on the other hand, people are attacking him. It seems like he's more negative and positive. And this is not about me not being pro Kwame or vice versa. The point I'm making is, what if people stop attacking him? What if people stop retaliating? He has 353,000 followers who likes his message. And we don't need to agree on everything as a group. You can be an individual in your own group. Here we go. Brother Keith, what's going on?
What's up, babe? How you doing today?
So I was telling how we have all these individual groups that keeps us separated on the business level. See, again, ladies and gentlemen, this channel is about money and division. You look at all the European Anglo-Saxon hybrids over here in America, and how the one thing they can agree on, they may not agree on going to church. They may not agree on dinner. But the one thing they agree on is business. Now, earlier you were saying, Keith, that you don't believe it's black or white.
Nah, it's bigger than black or white, man. It's like, and I said earlier it was good versus evil, because what we were talking about was how the Bill Cosby situation, how Bill Cosby just miraculously got out of jail. No real rhyme or reason to it. He just got out of jail. And what I was saying was, it may have been some type of ritual. He's 33 degree, whatever. And it was probably just a shaming ritual, because normally when you're about to get out of jail, it could take years. And you were talking about how the statute of limitations and this and that, they got him on the 2005 charge or whatever, but ultimately they just got him out of jail. And what I was alluding to was that he's part of the club. We're not. He happens to be black, but you can't necessarily say he is quote unquote black. He's living a totally different lifestyle than what most of us are living, as a rich billionaire, So
that
anyway,
that doesn't nullify him of being black, though.
Well, first of all, when you say black at law, that means something totally different. It's not a nationality. It's not a group of people. Let's clear that up from the jump, right? When you talk about Europeans, they're what is it? French American, European American, but they never say I'm white. They usually go back to their heritage, right? So we are the only people, so-called black people, that have both a status of black, but also we come from many different shades of other, nations or whatever. But the point I'm trying to make is, once you get over $1 billion, you can do a lot of things that most white people, quote unquote, can't do. You know what I'm saying? You can get away with a lot. So your status, as far as how much you make and your earnings, you get a pass on a lot of stuff. Would you agree with that?
Wait a minute, hold on. When you're talking about Bill Cosby, right?
Just as an example.
Yeah, I just want to go back to that point you made, because Bill Cosby is worth $1 billion. So he has the resources, he has the money to get the best attorneys and defense that money can buy. Okay, and here's the thing that you kind of smoothed over, or you just didn't even mention,
Yeah.
is that again, those prosecutors, those prosecutors did not follow the Fifth Amendment. They broke his Fifth Amendment rights because they did not give him due process. What they did was, in a private deposition that he taken, he answered some questions, but he never said, "Hey, I gave women Quaaludes in order to drug them and have sex with them." That is not what occurred. And see, that's the one thing that, regardless of the black or white, good or evil, particular, that doesn't make any sense.
What doesn't make sense, brother? The fact that he perjured himself, or not perjured himself, but he gave information that was against his Fifth Amendment, or the fact that here we go with a billionaire, not just a random dude. We talking about a billionaire. This never even should have went to trial. Let's be honest about this. Definitely. You know, when you talk
they
about,
act like they don't know the Fifth Amendment. I agree with you, and they act like they don't know the Fifth Amendment.
Yeah, but and see, that's the thing. If you paying $1,000 an hour lawyers, Cosby, don't violate your Fifth Amendment, which is you have the right to remain silent and do not incriminate yourself. But that was all bypassed. So, you know, basically the fact that he, and let's just, for the record, let's just make this plain and simple. There have been people that have gone to jail for longer without any due process, with their constitution being violated, right? But sure. This is the point that we're talking about. Here's a brother who was locked up. What was it, like 18 months? At least just before COVID happened.
Yeah, a little bit over.
And now just out of the blue, and you know, in recent news or in breaking news, Bill Cosby's let out of jail. There was no rhyme or reason to it. It just happened. You know, so either he has, you know, we don't even know. We just speculate.
Powerful friends, powerful lawyers.
Mm-hmm. Or what I was alluding to earlier, maybe it was just a ritual of just getting the people upset, and then getting it once they feel like they losing their attention, then they bring them back. Okay, we let them out. You know, you don't know.
That's contentious upon the fact that earlier you said that now, and you changed it mid conversation. You said
and what's the title of the show?
You know the title of the show. First and foremost, but you said the black Bill Cosby was part of the Black Boule. Then you came back and you said that I didn't say Black Boule, I said Boule.
I said, well, either way, the audience or whoever, they don't have privy to the previous conversation. We were talking about the Boule in general and how they control a lot of Hollywood, basically. That's what we were talking about. And what we were saying was that he's a high-ranking member of, you know, certain orders or whatever. So for him to even be put in this situation, that's the main topic. You know, the fact that this guy has money. He may or may not have done what we talked about. That was the norm back in the 70s and 80s. You know, that's how we did things, you know, most of us, you know. But the fact that he got put up on these charges, he actually went to jail, and then he just got suddenly released. That's the bigger picture. Like, is it black or white? I don't think so. I think a lot of black people would have probably stayed in jail a lot longer. So maybe it could be good versus evil in the sense that he's privy, or he's a part of a higher order than what a lot of people know about. You get what I'm saying?
What group do you belong to?
What's that?
What group do you belong to?
What group do I belong to?
Yeah, do you consider yourself?
First of all, I'm male.
Aborigine, indigenous person, black, Native American.
No.
Black Moor, what?
I am of Moorish descent, meaning that my bloodline pedigree, copper color complexion, hair like lamb's wool. I haven't actually traced my genealogy, but for the most part, I'm native and indigenous to this region. I'm non-European, right?
And what does that mean?
First peoples. when God created on the 6 days or however long, I was here. My bloodline was here. First people.
Now, here's a question. There's a lot of people all over the world on YouTube, Facebook, etc. They're part of all of these Moorish groups, right? And you know your history, you know your lineage, etc. They're part of all of these groups. Now that communities, those communities know the group they belong to, how does that help Black people? Or, as you said, we can go with this term Nubian. How does that help Nubian people?
Well, let me just say this real quick. If I was a descendant of Ireland, right? But I didn't know my actual bloodline pedigree, I was connected to George Louis III or whatever, I would refer to myself as Irish, right? Like Yiddish. It just means you are a part of that bloodline lineage. It doesn't mean that you actually know your rank and file in that nation. Okay. Do you agree? Do you agree with that? So my point being is, am I Black? No. Am I Negro? No. Am I colored? No. I am of Moabite descent, meaning Moor-ish. You see the difference there?
I do.
Now, with that being said, what clique or what part or what flavor of it, nobody knows. But it's my distinction from saying I'm not a U.S. citizen, all caps. I'm not all of the above. You know what I'm saying? But I am part. Go ahead.
Hold on. If you're not a U.S. citizen, right? And we can all recognize ourselves as different things. I can recognize myself as a lion, but that doesn't make the fact that I'm a lion. Let me finish. Do you work in these United States of white supremacy? Do you work here in the U.S.?
Absolutely.
Are you a taxpayer here in the U.S.? Do you have a residence in the U.S.? Then,
absolutely not.
If you have an ID, a birth certificate, and a social security card, no matter whether me believe it, like it, or not, you are a U.S. citizen, and you
Stop. That may have been the case up until about 3 months ago, but so my passport says national, foreign national, American. I'm not going to do that because that's my problem. But what I'm saying is, on the passport, it allows for you to distinguish yourself. I decline being a U.S. citizen. However, I am an American, and my status is foreign national, meaning that I'm native to the land, but I do not agree with the U.S. or the United States corporation. Two different distinguishments. Did you get that?
How does that help you, and how does that help Black people?
Now, first of all, I haven't met a Black person, so I don't know if it helps them or if it doesn't. But what I will say is how it helps me. How it helps me is through the tax obligation. The taxes are for U.S. citizens.
Yeah, and you still pay taxes.
No, I don't pay taxes. January 1st was the first, I changed my status, and therefore my tax liability, it on my pay stub and stuff, it says exempt. Why am I exempt? Because I'm no longer a citizen. I am a national. I operate under the constitutional republic as opposed to the United States corporation. Two different distinctions.
Well, first and foremost, I did a video on the United States corporation. So exactly. And that I'm totally aware.
Yeah. So the Virginia company. Go ahead.
Here's my point though. At the end of the day, it's all about money. And we talked about this earlier. At the end of the day, it's all about money. Whether you're a part of these groups or you're not. The point is, in my opinion, is that how do we as a people earn, make, invest more money? Because here's the thing. Now that you've done that and you no longer pay taxes,
state or federal,
why isn't it that you, people affiliated with you, people who also know this information, has not revealed it to the Black community, because none of us, or excuse me, not Black or Moorish descent people, that information in order for us to be free under the tax, and we don't have to pay tax, because again, it's about money.
Yeah. To answer your question, the reason why a lot of people who know this information haven't gone out and put their lives in jeopardy. Number one, you never want to keep another man from eating, right? If the system is set up a certain type of way, hey, it is what it is. But if you can read and you can figure it out on your own, you earned it. You know what I'm saying? In other words, at law, if I give you the information, if I give you the knowledge, it's never going to be yours. You follow me? You have to go out and earn it yourself. Just like in finance, you could give me the blueprint on how to build a Fortune 500 business.
No. Hold on.
Okay,
hold
a Fortune 1000. Fortune 1000.
Hold on, brother. Listen. To me, that's like saying, hey, I went out and got a job and I made money, but when I came back home, I didn't feed my family. See, if you say you don't see Black people, but you see Moorish descent people, then to me, that would be an unction, that would be a motivation to say, let me see if this process works. Let me make sure I detail it, write it out. And if I get mine, and then I'm going to reveal it to my people. I'm going to reveal it to my community. But now you're saying, oh, we should go out and work 10 times as hard for information that's going to benefit us in order to get these benefits. Now, for me, I see Black people as a family. I may not agree with all of them. I may not follow all of them. I may not even talk to all of them, but I see us as a collaborative family because we have a dominant society. Okay, we have a dominant society that puts us in a box and we can't maneuver essentially unless they allow us to, or we sell ourselves out. So with that being said, why we have to do all these extra things if you have the information? That's like me starting my YouTube channel, Financial Literacy 101. I want my people to know about finance so they can multiply on their money. Then I say, oh, well, you know, they're going to have to go out and get that financial information themselves and do for themselves, versus I can be a voice. I can give them the information in a multitude of ways so they can be motivated, going out, building business, you know, buying real estate, et cetera, and investing. So I'm not understanding why you wouldn't help.
Because okay, so part of the reason why I won't, it's not that I won't help, but I could literally give you the blueprint, right?
Yes.
It's more than one way to skin a cat. So at law, you have status, jurisdiction, and adjudication, right? That's how law works, right? If a person knows his status and does nothing with it, then the next 2 points are mute. You know what I'm saying? If you have the knowledge, but you don't walk it and walk into it, right? Then me telling, like you know, like the prophets, they sent all the prophets and people still didn't get it. You get what I'm saying? That's the first point. And let me do a sidebar real quick. Somebody just put on the comment, it says, bruh, your bloodline is the motherland, right?
Yes.
Did you see that? Now, I just want to address that real quick.
Okay.
Now, see, when I said first people, right? Go back and do your research, do your history. All of the continents were referred to as Pangea. We were already here, right? So what motherland are you talking about? Because I know you're not talking about Africa. Because if you know your history, after the great cataclysm, guess what was the first continent to rise out of the water? North America. So how, or be more descriptive of what motherland you're talking about. That's the first point. But I digress. Go ahead.
The division,
Why?
The division that we continue to spew in our communities is based upon all of the secular groups that we have, whether it be physical groups, online groups. And that's why a lot of times I used to give out information and I moved that to my second channel, the Black Post.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want the message to be misunderstood on this financial channel.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, 90% of my videos are on finances, because when you look at the society, when you look at the history, because you can recite things and have a great memory out of a book, does not mean that information is absolutely accurate. It's kind of like when we speak about religion. And I say, well, whoever wrote the Bible is the one who controls the people and their spirit. And they say, well, God is real. Well, how did you see God without the Bible? How did you see God without the Quran? How did you see God without the Torah?
You asking me? Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. I'm making a point that your lineage, what you believe, could just be all bullshit. But the one thing that is not bullshit is that people that look like you and I are dying for reasons that I can't even count. But the one thing that we can do to make our lives a little bit better, instead of saying, oh, I'm a black Muslim, I'm a black Moor, I'm a black Israelite, I'm a black Jew, I'm part of the what was those groups you named earlier? Can you run down those names of the different groups?
I think you covered them all. The Hebrew Israelites.
No, you said the Black Daughters or something of.
What was it? What'd you say?
The Daughters of Revolution.
Oh, that's not black. The Daughters of American Revolution. Those are the Europeans. It's basically the female version of the Masons.
I got it. But here's the point. All these groups that we were naming, they do one thing, and I said this earlier, the pretext of what we were talking about earlier is that these groups only separate us. That's like my brother Sean. He's like, well, I'm from Africa. You're from America. But now we got groups saying, well, Pan-Africanism. Then you got groups saying, I'm playing Black Native American. We never was African. We had white slaves. And I'm not saying any of those things are false. But the one thing they do is get people in these groups, and it separates us just the way religion has separated us for the past 500 years. And so you say those particular things, I'm trying to have you to make a round robin of, now that we know all this information, we have all these resources, what are we to do to elevate? What are we to do to rise our current status? Because that's what it's all about, your current status and what you can leave for your generations to come.
Now, with that being said, I'm glad you said that. Status, whatever you believe in, whatever you are, right? If you're a sweet potato, right? You come from the island of sweet potato or whatever, know that there's a distinction between corporate law or the law of the corporation.
Thank you, Percy.
And common law, right?
Yes.
Whatever your status is, you either are under umbrella of commercial code, or I see the brother said he meant Africa. And like I said, my study Pangea and find out what was the first continent to come up out of the Great Cataclysm. But that's another topic. Now,
semantics.
Yeah. Now, so what I'm saying, status is everything, because by claiming your status, you either are under the umbrella of the U.S. corporation or you under the constitutional republic. That's first and foremost. And under the constitutional republic, there's no such thing as taxes. That's for the corporate citizens. Does that answer your question?
No. My question
taxes.
No. My question was, after we have established and gained all this knowledge and information, why isn't it that brothers like yourself is not giving out the information that can help our people financially? Because here's the thing.
Go ahead.
I know a lot of our financial status has to do with the choices that we make. Because I made a couple of choices in my life to land me where I'm pretty much comfortable. Now, with that being said, that's why I give back the information, because of the choices I made, even in the environment. But we know that we the people take the information or not. The point is, if you know what you know, then it's no longer an excuse. And the one thing that our people lack is information. But you're saying you're willing to hold that information that our people wouldn't even have to pay taxes. But you say you would rather for them to go out and learn it themselves. And again, the question is, I get the point.
You do,
but I don't understand the meaning.
Okay,
I get the point, but I don't understand the meaning.
Okay, so in law, in the divine law of the universe, those that seek, right? That's it. You shall find. Ask and you shall find. If you don't ask, closed mouths don't get fed. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so we're asking, how did you go about not paying taxes?
I just told you, study, change your status.
No. What is the blueprint? What is the, you know what? I don't need the question sheet. I need the answers.
And in this show, we had 37 minutes. This is probably because there's a lot. There is a lot to do with changing your status, right? But just as a bullet point, go in, change your status from U.S. citizen to national, foreign national American. It's two different distinctions. Go okay. So when you do your W-4, your W-2, go look at a W-8 form. Go look at a W-9, right? They have the paperwork at the IRS, et cetera. And did you know that when you fill out the forms correctly, your W-9, W-8, at the end of the year, when you do file taxes, if you don't have your tax ID to go buy gas or whatever, they're supposed to refund all of that, right? This is my first year doing it, and I haven't filed this year. But that's neither here nor there. But what I'm saying is, everything that you do, it's a lot of study. It's not, I can't give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, because like I said earlier, there's a lot of ways to skin a cat. You follow me? There's a lot of forms, there's a lot of different ways. But number one is your tax status.
Listen, I understand this. The point is, you did it. Why can't you lay out a blueprint? Why can't you give us the steps that you took so we can try the very same? Because here's the thing, I want to try it. I absolutely want to try it. And I want to come back and tell my guys, hey, family, it actually
this is
works.
How you do it. Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to debunk what you're saying. I'm just saying, don't just say a bunch of stuff like, oh, you don't have to pay taxes, and you give all these more. I get it. I'm respecting that. I understand your perspective on that line of information. But if you did it, it's like me, if I crossed a mountain and it's gonna say, well, how did you cross it? Which way did you go? What are the steps that you take? And I say, it's really no one way to do it. Huh? How did you do it? That's what I'm asking, brother.
Okay, well, that's what I changed my status from U.S. corporate citizen to American foreign national.
K-Dub, listen. K-Dub, I get what you're saying. What I'm saying is, where did you go? What forms did you use? And what was the next steps? Because at the end of the day, people like, hey, I don't want to pay taxes. So if you have the information, or go change your status, where do I go? What paperwork? What are these steps? That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, and IRS, that's W-8, W-9 form, right? And you're making that face.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what else, what type of
that's it.
Because no, there's more to it, but the main thing is the passport, the US passport. That is your decree right there. That is them recognizing your status, right? And you both are communicating the same thing. So for example, when you get pulled over and you have your US passport with your national, foreign national, American, your status is different, and therefore the laws affect you, or you know what I'm saying? That's basically what I could tell. And anybody that watches this channel,
you're saying not only, you're saying more than what about taxes. You're saying
the constitutional republic.
Taxes. We won't have to pay taxes, and we wouldn't even have to pay a ticket because we don't fall under the rules of the U.S. So we don't pay taxes to the U.S. Is that what you're saying?
Show me in common law, right? Show me in common law where common law takes a backseat to U.S. statutes, codes, etc. Show me that first, and that answers your question right there. So, in other words,
no, really, I'm just asking for a yes or no. What I said prior,
yes or no. Yes or no. That I get it, but it's more to it than just black or white. There's more to it than yes or no. There is a lot going on in the country right now where a lot of jurisdictions are,
YouTube Ice-T.
Okay, YouTube Ice-T. There we go. But anyway, man, I think we belabored this point. Let's move on to the next topic. The subject matter for today is choose or don't choose.
Well, you've chosen. You've chosen to recognize your Moors history, right? Which essentially, again, I said very early on in the video that we will all consider Moors at one point in time, right or wrong.
Up until 1939. 1939. Yeah, I got a paper clip, a newspaper article where Langston Hughes is referred to as a Moor. So you get that. So yes. This whole black, Negro colored, African American, this is some new, and when I say new, I mean it's contemporary. It's contemporary. You know what I mean? But those that study, those that know the real that's going on, they can identify with a lot of truths that I'm saying. And like I said, it's no right or wrong answer. You just have to go for broke, study the Constitution stuff. You gotta study your butt off to understand what is law, what are the different jurisdictions of the law, et cetera, and how your status is number one in everything we do.
Red Wine says, well, all Moors.
And what a Moor is somebody that is bloodline derivative of a Moabitess. That's it. That's all that means. Some they call the Europeans amalgamated Moors, right?
But isn't today believing yourself to be a Moor and being part of the Moor science, isn't today that's considered a religious group?
No. Oh, that's a good point that you bring up, bro, because remember, not some, but all of the groups, Daughters of the American Revolution, Family of 13, Council of Nicaea, the Republicans and Democrats, right? Every single order.
Very quickly, what's the importance of the Council of Nicaea?
The Council of Nicaea is when first of all, when you study, you know that Christianity is nothing more than a Europeanized version of Islam. Boom.
I agree.
Right? Islam is basically all of the Moors on the planet at one time, right? They study.
Time out. I don't mean to interrupt you, brother. Red Wine said 1939 is a prime matter that was going to have to stop the timelines. They added 5 years to that. We must be willing to teach our people that we've been separated by the lines. We still one mass.
Come on with that.
You agree with that?
And with that group consciousness, we are that we are. You know, we are all one. Yeah, I totally agree. But anyway, going back to what I was saying, everybody has been.
Wait a minute. I don't want you to skip over this one part because she made a good point. Now, regardless if we consider ourselves Moors or not, do you believe it's still important for us to unite for one reason or another? And you know what I'm talking about.
Hold on, I got a plane. Hold on.
I see all the groups: Asians, Hispanics, Indians, East Indians, whites, right?
Yeah.
No matter what you want to consider their name to be, the one thing they consider is business, is making money. They don't care if one is a Christian, one's a Satanist, one's the boule. They don't matter the group. One's a white supremacist. One is part of this group. The one thing they agree on and they do each and every day is build business and have us to work for them.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Go ahead.
I'm not saying they shouldn't build businesses. We should have the capacity and resources to do so as well. So the one thing we don't agree on, okay, the one thing, not saying you and I, but the one thing that we don't agree on is money.
We agree on money.
We don't. We want money, but we don't agree on money.
No, but
right?
Okay.
Because these groups, I consider myself a more not, and this is not against, because I do consider that, but I'm making a compare and contrast that whether yourself a Christian, a Muslim, a Black Moor, a Black Jew, all these groups that we have, they do nothing for us. It's as far as now, granted, the information that you gave about not being a citizen, I'm gonna look into that. Because if we don't have to pay taxes, we don't have to pay taxes. But the point is, the one thing they all do is divide us. And it takes us away from what all the other groups are doing. In India, they're training literally all their youth, all their people, IT, and being a doctor. They come to America, you wonder why all these East Indians are in IT or they're a doctor. And that's because they're on one agenda, one code. They're on one agenda or one code. Some Indians are Christian. Some Indians practice Hinduism. But the one thing they understand is stinking money. And they come to America and they make it. But we are here, a part of all of these groups, considering ourselves all of these things. Black American Indian. And it really doesn't matter because we're living in the worst neighborhoods and the worst environments with the lowest food that we can possibly eat. We're having maltreatment in clinics and hospitals. And it separates us as a people.
Can I interject real quick? I got to say this. I was in the hospital a couple weeks ago, whatever. There was a college student that came into the hospital for suicide. She had a suicide attempt on her life, right? Her passport had her status as a foreign national, non-American from whatever country she was from, right? The nurse in the hospital wanted to, in DC, it's like a 72-hour rule. If you commit suicide, they have to hold you for 72 hours, right? With her passport, the police officer from the MPD, they said, no, you're not going to hold her because look at her status. So she didn't fall under the Christian Black Code law that most of us get, like most of us, if we go to the hospital for suicide, they're going to hold us for 72 hours. Why? Because of our status. Do you understand that point right there?
I do.
You get that? So your status is everything. That's number one. Number two, the Queen of England is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. She is the sovereign for all of the nations. And if you do your research, that includes the United States Service Corporation, right? She is the sovereign, meaning that she has all of her constitutional unalienable rights, and everybody who claims to be a British, UK, United States, a West Indian, etc., all of those people fall underneath her sovereignty. So what we're saying is that you have to, I respectfully object to that. I am my own sovereign. And that's what this basically is about. Once you establish, for the record, your status, everything else opens up to you, including business. Have you ever wondered why Black people can't even do, like you can't even, your girlfriend can't even do another person's hair in her own community without having to do a 1099, right?
I get what you're saying, for it to be legal. Yes.
Yeah, for it to be legal, but she's under the jurisdiction of the Black codes. It's two different distinctions. So that's what we have to go back to. Understanding that your sovereignty.
Now
go ahead.
Let me say some of these comments because I think they're important to the conversation.
Go ahead.
We are more worried about what group we belong to. That's from Conscious Music. Red Wine says that we establish unity in business is how we end it. And now Red Wine is also the person who was saying about we are all considered Moors. But I can agree to the fact that at the end of the day, if we establish business together, we can kind of end all of this division and our current status. Now, she says, here's the corporation dealers tried to kill me earlier. They are putting the people in a dead status every time they speak for them. Now, we were talking about this earlier.
Can I say something real quick?
Go ahead.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
The dead status is U.S. citizen. According to the law, a U.S. citizen in all caps, it means that you're dead out to sea, floating outside of the island of Puerto Rico. And that's in their law book. That's in their law book. So when I distinguish between being dead out to sea and a natural living person on the land, all of the laws apply to the living as opposed to the dead. So what we're doing here is schematics, is wordplay, right? So until you understand the word magic, you're not going to get this. This is an adult conversation, right? So all of that Negro, Black, Christian, all of those schisms are designed to make you think that that is nationality, that is sovereignty. That has nothing to do with the subject matter of business. That's why Indians, Asians, other people, other nationalities come to this country and do really well, because one of the first things I found out, most of the Ethiopians that come to America with their status as white, that's their status, white on their passport. Guess what? They get 7 years of tax-free, whatever they make in their 7-Elevens for 7 years, they don't have to pay taxes. Why? Because they're nationals from another nation coming over here. But as soon as they put black on their social security, or I'm sorry, their passport, then they get the Negro treatment. It's that simple. And let's just do simple math. $1 million for 7 years minus $400,000 in taxes. That's $600,000 at the end of the 10 years versus whatever was 6 million. Give me a second. My math is a little messed up, but you get my point though.
That's good. That's cool, brother.
You get what I'm saying though. At the end of 10 years, you done paid $400,000 in taxes. I'm sorry, $4 million in taxes, as opposed to somebody.
You're saying the benefit is essentially pretty much the things you've done, so you don't fall under the standard laws of the U.S. corporation.
First of all, it's not a benefit. It's recognizing that
it's a right, right?
It's a right. You got two administrations going on at the same time. One is parasiting off of you and your virtue, right? And the other one allows you to be free, natural, and left alone. You got two different administrations. And for those that can read, they can recognize that. Those that just follow what they hear, right? Then they get that treatment. Status, jurisdiction, adjudication. When you get that,
Red Wine says, and I agree, black is a spell cast to disable the sovereign people. We are not the US. They are giving out privileges. We have birthrights, not privileges.
Birthrights, meaning that you cannot give it away, you cannot have it taken from you, right? This is part of your divine law, right? In other words, you didn't start here on earth, and you're not going to finish here on earth. You're just passing through. However, your bloodline has been here longer. So according to the law, just sanguine, right? You're here because of the first blood, or just sanguine, and the other one is just solis. First on the land, first of the blood. That's natural law. That's unalienable law, right? Have you ever wondered where did they come up with the 10 commandments? I mean, not the 10 commandments, but the unalienable rights in the beginning, right? These are cosmic laws. These laws don't start in America. They don't start in Africa. These are cosmological laws, right? And they must be followed. It's just that simple, right? And the only way that they're not followed, if you get your status changed from natural sovereign to Negro, black, colored, West Indian, Indian. No, what's the other one? Native American. Those, it's not Indian. Yeah. It's indigenous. But
here's a question.
Go ahead.
Can all of our people do this?
Even the amalgamated Moors, meaning the Europeans, right? because when you study your history, everybody on the planet comes from the people that look like you and I, right?
Yes.
They know this. They know this. That's what the schisms are all about.
So why are so many of us trapped in the matrix?
Because number one, we don't read. We
That's
don't
true.
understand the law. We go by what the other dude at the other jail said, right? You get what I'm saying?
But here's the thing. Okay, why are the caucus people doing this as well? The Caucasians.
Because the Sister QV Trust of 1666, right? I think it was Pope Boniface II. He came up with he came up with the concept that all of the living souls on planet Earth are dead out to sea. And in 1999, which is the inverse of 1666, everybody is supposed to be killed, right?
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say that again. Everybody was supposed to be killed. So a lot of those Europeans that were getting kickbacks and golden, extra perks and everything, now that the cycle has changed and the money has dried up, now they're losing their 10. What did Jesus get sold? Or was it Julius Caesar got sold out for 10 shekels or whatever it was? They're losing they are losing their head start that they had against the true Aboriginal indigenous people of the land, right? So that's why that's why they're releasing these secrets. That's why they're giving us this information, because their time is running out just as well as ours. So the only way that all of us in business, in politics, in relationships, the only way that we can get back to reclaiming our sovereignty is that we have to cut the schisms and we have to go back to the common law, the natural law of the universe, not just planet Earth, but the universe.
Okay,
and
so
we all got to become one.
If that is to be the truth, why is it that 10% of the population of the world controls the 90%, and in that 90%, 99% of Moorish descendant people are under the foot of a dominant society and white supremacy around the world? And even in this case, I'm calling white supremacy to the point where those Chinese people that go to Africa and they essentially make deals to buy the land. They're building military bases over there now. So when you look at all of this and everything that you're saying, the question is this: if this is to be the truth, right, and this is our birthright, which I believe, but at the end of the day, majority of us are living in the matrix. And like you said, we don't read. And like you said, you got to go out and get the information, which we're not going to do. How do we still elevate ourselves if we are unintelligent, ignorant, don't know the information? How do we still survive in a system that we don't want to break away from, that the dominant society, and the dominant doesn't mean the majority in a sense, but it means in the sense that they dominate over everybody else, and they make sure that they have white supremacist shield puppets that look like you or not. The question is how we still elevate, or you don't believe we can, in the current society that we have today.
Okay, okay. So just real quick, everybody's not going to make it. Everybody could have this information. Everybody could have somebody fill out the paperwork, do all of the necessary things. But at the end of the day, they don't walk in it and they don't understand it from a cosmic standpoint. That's the first point. The second point is everything that happens in this cycle, or whatever, however you want to call it, there's an ebb and a flow to everything. They say that the melanated man on the planet is God, right?
Yes.
I heard it put this way: in order for God to know the lowest point in civilization, he has to be in the lowest point in civilization, right? Yeah, I know that's crazy.
Hold. Time out. What God do you believe in?
God of the what I refer to as source, the God of all creation, before that, the God before there was time, the God that was before the earth, the first creator, the primordial energy that started everything off.
So God is not male or female.
God is both.
Okay.
In this
And
duality, go ahead.
what I'm saying is, when you say, now God is not part of none of the religions that we know of today, right? The over 4,200 religions. He's not part of any of those religions, right?
No, the word God means gut, which means to pour out or to invoke. The
Yep.
true essence of God, the melanated star seeds that are on the planet that look like both you and I, and even like I said, our amalgamated brothers, the Europeans, we all are different expressions of the prime creator, right? But when we separate, when we have the schisms, that keeps us from having heaven on earth, right? The God that they talk about in the Bible, when you study, because one of the biggest books is the Bible. That's everybody puts all their energy to the Bible, but when it's two creation stories. It's the Elohim, which is the fallen. I'm sorry, the Elohim, which is the gods from the higher realms, but not the God, not the source, but they are higher than the fallen ones, right? Genesis 1 and 2. You can research this yourself.
No.
But
Here's the thing. I know that. I know.
yeah,
You know. I know
yeah,
the
you
Bible.
already know this. You
But
you hit.
yeah, I do. But the point I'm making is, the God that you believe, the primordial, is there any text, any reference book about this particular God?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, now, who wrote these books?
That is a very one of the books that I'm thinking about is the Hermetica
Yeah.
Hermetica Trismegistus, right? That means Thoth, 3 times great, right? He's one of the
Yes.
Elohim, right? There are like a lot of different books, right? Here's one for your mind. The original Bible has 777 books, right? We just get a commercial sized concept of God. So off the break,
Red Wine said God is the government.
yeah, governance, ordinance, and I forget government governance. I forget what it stands for, but yeah, it means on the dollar bill. It means gold, oil, and something else. But what do you put your energy into? Some people believe that we are
No. We
God,
were talking
but
about.
that's
I asked you who wrote these books.
I have no idea. I have no idea, no clue.
Do you
And
believe these books? Do you
let me just
believe
say
these
this.
books?
Let me just say this. Let me just say
Do
this.
you? This answer my question. Do you believe these books?
Your answer. Which book are you talking about? Let's ask
The
that.
books about the primordial energy force of the universal creator, the one that you explicitly in detail mapped out. That's what I'm
Okay.
referring to.
Okay. Now, there are books on this. Who wrote them? Enoch. That's one of the books, right? Do I know Enoch? No, but that's who they said wrote the book of Enoch, and he talks about all of this, right? The book of Job, right? But
Okay,
my
so
point being is this.
the book of Enoch is one of the lost books of the Bible. The book of Enoch, the book of Jasher, the book of Mary. These are
The books,
all lost books of the Bible.
the book.
And
Go ahead.
he speaks about these things in the book. And the point is, I won't even go through this whole rigmarole. What I'll say is this: the origin of the books are unknown, right? None of they may have authors, they may not. But the point is, if I'm a universal force, if I'm an all-time creator, and I can manifest anatomy, blood, flesh, bones, then I too can transform into these figures. And if I am to be that divine creator, I can let everyone know at the exact same time that I am your creator, versus books that are unknown, even if these books have authors, like the Bible, like the Dead Sea Scrolls. All of these have an author, a publisher. someone who wrote these and created these documents. But the point is the people really do not know. You will never know. You're only using faith. You're only using the information within the book to believe what you believe. Because everybody on earth without a religious or a beginning of time book wouldn't know any of the information to speak on a higher power. And that's why I always say that I believe, I don't know. I said, I believe that there is a universal creator, that creator is all. I don't know what sect, what religion, what universe he came from, or he or she or it came from. But when we believe in books, religious documents of some sort of creation of what the term we know God. Think about how we really don't know, but we say that we know because of what we believe and what we read, but not what you actually know. We only know what we read. And
that's some of us. That's some of us. See, that's not everybody.
We only know what we read, and there's some other, like going through experiments and tests and examples, walks of life, but
yeah, most of us don't know because so what I'm saying is this, and this is all of the secret societies, all of these different orders, this is what they know. They know that when you are in a third dimensional matrix mindset and reality, you don't even get to the higher forms of thought, right? So a lot of these concepts people can't even grasp because it's coming from the higher self or the higher mind, right? So if you're talking to children about how to reboot a computer, right? Womp, 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 womp. And that's the same concept of God to a lot of people that are in the love and hip hop third dimensional reality. So what I'm saying is I've tapped into some higher energy. I've tapped into a higher mind. So a lot of these concepts, I don't have to necessarily read, but they come to me in downloads. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's not on that level. Hopefully we'll get there.
You're saying that the books that you have read doesn't influence you at all?
No. What I'm saying is the books are just a baseline of the knowledge that's in my DNA that has already exists.
Meaning foundation, correct?
It's like how do you say it in math? 1 + 1 = 2, right? But when you get to the Fibonacci triangle, you get what I'm saying? Basic stuff versus the higher stuff. But when some people get introduced to the higher stuff, it all comes back. Does that make sense to you?
If you are basing your information and your downloads, quote unquote, over the baseline of the book that you've read, it's like building a house. I build a foundation, but my foundation is faulty. My foundation has imperfections. And when I build that house on that foundation, that house will fall eventually. And when you say that you have a baseline of these books and the information are downloaded based upon that baseline, it tells me that your thoughts, your downloads, could just be that subjective under your subconscious mind of what you read manifesting in your conscious mind. So you are essentially manipulating yourself based upon the information you read previous of the baseline information, the foundation of your home, that all of the origin of that, we really don't know.
Now, again, with that being said,
is that because here's the thing, I'll end with this. It's not what you believe, is what you know. And what you know is what you can prove, unless you just say, oh, I'm a spiritual person and I believe in free will. Then you can't prove anything. And that's not even a conversation.
Damn. And I will say this, man. When you get into the Emerald Tablets by Tahuti, by Thoth, he talks about how the pyramids were created in a higher dimension and they started from the top down, right? We can't prove that, right? But when you read the Emerald Tablets, this brother has a higher mind that we will never understand, right? So a lot of what we're talking about is on a third dimensional level. It is not until you get and tap into the higher mind that you could even have concepts that are bigger than just planet Earth.
So basically, you're saying majority of people operate on a low energy level. They operate
No,
with minimum uses of their chakras.
not even chakras, but just their mind itself. They don't get past the basics.
Doesn't chakras give you the ability to go between dimensions?
Absolutely. That's what Jesus was talking about when he talked about walking on water, right? Traveling the dimensions in his body.
Wait a minute. Do you recall the body of water that Jesus walked on?
That was a metaphor. Remember this.
No, because that same lake, people have actually walked on water, and it's because of the heavy salt content. I digress. I'm just making a point.
Now, to answer that question, that is on the mundane level. But what Yahshua was actually talking about was traveling the 7 seas or the 7 chakras or the 7 dimensions inside of his body. It had nothing to do with water on a lake in earth. That was just a metaphor. Now, mind you, when you read the Bible, they even tell you it's designed to entrap you or free you, right? So if you're looking at it from a third dimensional tithes and offerings perspective, then that's where you're going to stay. But if you look at it from a higher plane, right? Because remember, the Bible is the sun book. Jesus is the sun as it travels the cosmos, right?
Ora,
yeah, it's the same. Exactly. It all came from Ikupta, right? But what I'm saying is that is the number one tool that they use to enslave, i.e. Black Americans, right? Keep them on the third dimensional thinking. So we both agree that the Bible
that's why we're twerking that's why we're twerking and popping booty and saying backs that thing up.
Yeah, but that's like in law, the word minority has nothing to do with race. Keep them as children, right? They could be 40 years old and they still. What's that? Yeah, exactly. So what we're dealing with is a system that has put divine people, divine beings into a loop of just stupidity and third dimensional thinking, so that when you actually explain to them, you don't have to pay taxes. That concept is cognitively disassociated to them. They can't fathom that. Oh, you talking that crazy shit? You know, you out to lunch, brother.
But
I've been paying my taxes my whole life.
When you break this down, any person who wants to criticize this and use any form of consonant dissonance, they're going to understand that in order to survive, the majority of us, the majority of us won't be able to release ourselves, to free ourselves from the corporation, so we wouldn't have to be subjugated to the laws. That's the way we don't pay taxes.
Exactly.
Because when you look at it, again, even when you trickle down from the sectional groups that we essentially separate ourselves from, or even our belief in God, is that our community is so damaged that it's easy for you and I to say, well, go out and read and do the work, and there's more than one way to skin a cat. You're absolutely correct. But our people have been boxed in. And these are not excuses, these are just reasons. And we can go through redlining, discrimination. We can go through all of these things that marginalize, Jim Crow, that all of the different Black Wall Streets being burned down. Regardless if we are we citizen or non-citizen, do you believe we're gonna stop getting killed in the street? Do you believe that we're still going to have social economic discrimination?
Absolutely.
Do you believe that we're still going to live in projects, ghettos, slums, while the 10% of the world is living in nice homes, castles, they own islands, while people that look like you and I with high melanin are living in
Community housing.
Section 8 community housing, but drug infested neighborhoods. And not just drugs, but we're killing out there. We could be alcohol, drugs, opioids, or just living in a low income area is risky. Even if you go out and have a job, it's still risky because of that environment. Even the places around that environment, because being from DC, there's a church and there's a liquor store in every freaking corner, and that's not even being facetious. That is the truth. Damn near on every corner in the black community, there is a barbershop, a liquor store, and a church. And the point is, how do we have all this information, and those who operate on low chakra levels are not paying attention to what's going on around us? And even if they did, I don't believe that we will be able to separate ourselves from the corporation. Thus, we're still going to be low impoverished, poor, homeless, destitute, etc.
Okay, and my answer to that is 90% of the organizations that we mentioned are all compromised, right? So even if you get in and you start talking to status, jurisdiction, adjudication, there's going to be one guy that's working for CIA, FBI, Interpol, that's going to sabotage that movement, right? However, if everybody acts on that Christ degree, everybody acts on that Christ light, you know what I'm saying? So we don't have to be a gang. We just all have the same information, and we connect to our cosmic higher self, right? Then we will escape. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, they sent Malcolm, they sent Mark, they sent all the leaders, and come to find out they were all 33rd degree CIA operatives, right? Because once we wake up and understand our sovereignty, they are behind us in that line. You get what I'm saying? They are not able to run game on us no more because their fictitious Wizard of Oz like corporation is dead. The reason that it's still alive is because we still feed it. We still give into it.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? So,
right? Do me a favor. So we're talking about being part of a corporation. In a sense, this is all about money, folks. Just want to let you know. We're just having a really good discussion going back and forth for you guys who are just joining us. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please share, subscribe. Now, with all that being said, why should our people be informed of this information of going out and doing these particular things? And I'm going to I want your content on this. I want your feedback, rather. If this is going to occur, why would we go out and get that information?
Why would we go out and get that information?
To not be a citizen, to not be a part of the U.S. if this is going to occur.
Because this, and when you read the actual article, line for line, this is nothing more than the year of Jubilee in the Bible, where everything gets reset back to the original people, right? They know the truth. That's why they're called secret societies, right? Because they've been holding a secret for hundreds of years, thousands of years, actually. But once this comes out, there is no debt. There is no debt toward. We are all God's children. That's what I was saying.
Time out. Excuse me, one point. Now, Nevin says, what is that? We're going to break this down, brother. Now, for you guys who not familiar, who's on the line with me, this is K-Dub. This is my actual brother, okay? This is K-Dub, my actual brother. So these conversations you're hearing that seem somewhat heated going back and forth, we have them all the time. But anyway, let me move on. The reason why I point this out right here, because Nevin says, what is this? This is the Nassar Act, National Economic Security and Reform Act. And so my point being, Keith, and I'm gonna read this very quickly, but I want you to have this in your subconscious here. Why would we go out with the trouble of doing the W8, W9, going to the passport, changing us to national, not a U.S. citizen, that we know majority of us won't do. Let's just be realistic. But when this is going to occur, it says here that the Nassar implements the following changes and others. The Nassar Act 0, and this came out in September 28th of 2011, okay? 2011, so this is what, been 10 years. Zeroes out all of credit card, mortgages, and other bank debt. Abolishes the income tax. Creates a 14% flat rate non-essential new items only sales. Increased benefits to senior citizens. Returns constitutional laws to all courts. Monitors elections and prevents illegal election activities of special interest group, meaning like they won't allow lobbyists to lobby. Creates a new U.S. Treasury currency backed by gold and silver, going back to the old system, not the fiat currency system that we're currently in, and platinum and precious metals. Now, why would we go out if this is going to occur?
Because if you give them Negroes money, reparations, or reset their account balances, if they don't understand the history of finance and natural law, they'll be broke the next month.
This is
I'm gonna say that again.
Say it again.
If you release all debts, zero out the income, state taxes, if you do all that Nassar implements, and these Negroes can't read, they'll be broken the next month, right?
And
Dave Chappelle.
And this is the reason why I started this channel. Because at the end of the day, if you don't know money, you don't know shit.
Yep, and we haven't operated with money since 1971.
You can know that you are more. You can know that Jesus Christ is king. You can know that Allah is great. You can know that Buddha walked on water, that Muhammad had special powers. You can know all of those things, but at the end of the day, you don't know nothing if you don't know about no money. That is the point. Just like we said earlier, that building business is the one way we can unite our community, but we won't do it because we all believe and follow a different thing, and we can't agree on one thing, and that's money. That's why I get on here and I'm like, I don't care what religion, I don't care what group. Let's get on this money. Let's invest this money. Let's buy buildings. Let's buy real estate. Let's buy land. Now, granted, if you go and you do these things to be a national, birthright person of this land, that's no way, even, this is just my belief, there are always those who slip through the cracks. But there is no way in the society we live today, even if we all knew and we took those steps, it would not come into fruition. It will go to war and anarchy before the white supremacist society allow us to take back our birthright. So if that is the case, and it's going to be total world annihilation, because those are the ones who are in power. Those are the ones who control government. Those are the ones who controls the military. So it's just going to be a bunch of melanated people dead in the streets. So I teach people how to maneuver, elevate, multiply, grow financially. Because what happens is a lot of people start to understand who they are when they have more money. A lot of us, we did not know who we were and what we will be until we start getting a higher level of social status. I remember watching Walker Flocka talk about, he knows that he's a Native American. He knows that he's a Black Native American.
Yep.
And I'm not refuting that. What I'm saying is, no one can get into a higher plane of existence and understand chakras and dimensions within the body, without the body, and a total makeup of mankind when they are broke, destitute, hungry, strung out on drugs, mental issues, deriving from being boxed out of something. Majority of our people who have mental issues is either by some sort of related PTSD or trauma that occurred in the Black community, outside of Black community. But at the end of the day, it's been the pressures Okay, it's been the triggers of the dominant society boxing in the black community or Nubian community or Moorish community within America to do their bidding and keep us poor, destitute, and homeless. Because we're not building on our financial knowledge versus doing something that will cause world annihilation, in my opinion. Because if all of us know that, hey, you need to fill out these forms and go about, so we don't have to pay taxes, and that leads to we're the birthright people of this land, and this is how much land I want, and etc. They will not let that occur. It's too much money being built in the Western world and also in the Eastern world now. And those are essentially foes, okay, foes of white supremacy. Here's the thing. Whites and Asians really never really got along. But they got along for what? They got along for money. They got along to press us down and keep us down as a people. They say, hey, our numbers are diminishing. We won't be able to hold power here in America and in Europe. So we need allies that we may not agree with, but we can make money and we can make them our puppets by allowing them to maneuver. And I'm talking to a lot of these Asian countries, because if they can all demonize, okay, criticize, demonize, degrade black people, then they can stay on top. The only way that we can essentially have something if we teach our people finance and build a structure upon that, knowing that they will get the knowledge and then start to build businesses. You get what I'm trying to say? We get so lost with all these other things that we should know, where the one thing that we need to know to maneuver, survive, exist in this new world is about money. It's about money. So do you believe that something like the Nassar Act will actually happen?
I think the Nassar Act is it's a reset, because you're absolutely right, man. Because if it wasn't about money, then they never would have took us off the gold standard. Because with gold, nothing appreciate or nothing. There's no such thing as inflation, right? So you're absolutely hitting on all cylinders. How do you thrash a people? Finance. That's number one. And then all of the social controls, all of the everything else comes from the devaluation of the currency, right? That's number one. But that is not all to it, because you hear and you read about a lot of people living dirt poor, but they have good moral values. They may not have the best car. They may not have the best job, or they may not have the best business. But if they have the values,
let me address something.
Go ahead.
Properties here says, what's the difference between FBA and ADOS? Let me try to explain it the best way I can. Foundational Black Americans is a narrative that we believe that we are indigenous, we are the people of this land, that we were the first ones on this land. Talking about North America, the entire world, essentially, but mostly North America. Okay? American descendant of slaves, ADOS, just means that they're descendants of slaves, and they can actually be from Africa, brought to America, and they're descendants of slavery here in America, not being foundational to America. They're immigrants that was brought over before the U.S. corporation actually established itself. So that's to explain that, which moves me into my last thing. We're working off a system of fiat currency. Oh, are we not, K-Dub?
We slowly getting out of it, but yeah, we are right now.
Currently, we're working on a system.
If you follow the news right now, Russia, a lot of countries are getting off of the dollar-backed currencies. They're going back to gold. That's happening right now. If you're keeping up to it, if you follow.
I am.
Yeah.
But Europe and America are still working off of fiat.
Absolutely.
Okay. So my question is this: how should people maneuver this space when it comes to being in a better position financially? Should they operate in a system of fiat or raw precious metals or both?
You know what? I'm not a financial advisor, so um I can't give either way, but I will say this. If you're in gold, gold has been doing well. It's been up and down, but it's been doing well the last 3 months. And my what is it? My 457 since last March, it went up 11%. So, and that's 97% stocks, 3% of bond market, but it went up 11%. So right now it's a transitional phase. You know what I'm saying? It's a transitional phase. But like I said, at the end of the day, gold is gold. Gold is reign supreme. You know, you can't go wrong with gold. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a fungible commodity. You know what I'm saying? If the market goes to zero, you still have a bar of gold somewhere in your house, or you know. So yeah, this is it fluctuates, but it stayed around 17, mid 1700s over the last 3 months. You know, but like I said, we all know that gold is a manipulated commodity. It's being suppressed. We know this. You know, but at the end of the day, all nationalities, all cultures, everybody knows gold. If you go to Djibouti, Africa, or you go to Southeast, wherever, they know gold. They don't know Bitcoin. They don't know, I'll trade you a Google stock for a hamburger. They don't know that. You see what I'm saying? So gold is always supreme.
So talking about gold, right? And we've had this conversation before. Let me blow this up for the people. Right? This is in 1 month, the fluctuation of gold, right? Now they drop down to on the lowest point around 1755. It usually stays. Let's go back 5 years. Now, you see this right here? Per ounce was $2,000 back in 2020, okay, which was one of the highest ever at $2,000 per ounce. Right now, we're currently around the 1,800 mark. Now, living in the system that we live in now, we can't exchange. I mean, in some places we can, but in everyday currency, if I go to the corner store to get me a bag of chips, if I go to Whole Foods, I won't be able to use gold. I have to use a system of fiat.
But it's changing, though. It's changing. You know what I mean? And what you would do is you would go to the Forex, exchange your gold for the whatever the currency is for that particular jurisdiction, and then you would do your trade. But the value of gold.
Okay, cool. But if money is not backed by gold, which it isn't in the U.S. and also the Western world, to say the Western world is backed by a system of fiat, which is IOU, basically is debt. IOU. So why would I trade in my precious gold that's actually worth something for a system of fiat while I'm just dealing with debt? And that's why, I mean, essentially, that's why we all can afford these houses, afford these cars, is because we operate in a system of fiat that there's no real currency backing money. So why would I give that up?
Because the way that it works is that if everybody agrees to it, then that's what the order of the day is. You know what I mean?
I agree.
And the reason that we agree that fiat is money is because we've been under mind control for the last 40 years. You know? And that's a good comment right there. Read that one.
It is. He said, at my church, everyone can quote the Bible, know the Hebrew and the Greek, and bro. And Percy, absolutely, brother. Because you know what? You Holy Ghost filled, you praying to your respective God, and we don't even know the origin. We don't know how the system, now, and I don't expect everybody to know how the system of money came about. It's kind of common knowledge. It started off as trade. Okay, but other than that, that's how money came about. Trade and I owe you, and that's how debt came up. Oh, if you give me this, man, give me 2 months, I'll give it back to you. Debt. Very easy. I owe you, and I may put a percentage on it. In the Black community, we give our money to the church or the mosque. That's where we give our money to support the organization that we believe that we're getting spiritually fed. Now, all of these documents, all of these books of faith, so to speak, have the people to do one thing. Have the people to do one thing, the 5 major religions. Christianity, okay, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, and Judaism. They all require one thing from the people in order to have these organizations and groups that separates people is money. That's the one thing they ask for everybody. Everything you have to use money. So regardless if you're following the system of fiat currency, or like me, I buy gold sometimes, and we know that you buy silver, I buy silver because it's a very precious metal. You can get it at a low weight.
What's the price right now? Like $40?
Say what now?
It's about $28 per ounce right now.
Per ounce, yes. But the one thing is, they all require the people to do what? Regardless of the section, religion, group, organization you belong to, the one thing that you have to do to that organization is give an offering, a deposit, some sort of charity event. You have to give, because one thing that everybody understands is money. And so let's just speak about the Black. I'll just take the Black community with the Black church. We already know what religion that is. They grow it like a business. They have protections and benefits under the law. The communities they serve are living a horrible life, psychologically, health-wise, nutrition, Medicare. I mean, the list is extensive, but they still take, grow. And that's why we have all of these syndicated national church organizations, because they grow by free donations. The only thing I need for you to is believe and give me your money. And they hire people, churches hire people to come and preach and come and work in the church. And they say, well, if you're not going to give to the church, then we need your time. We need you to till the lands. We need you to serve the people. We need you to open and close.
Real quick, I got to make this point, bro. Don't forget the 501c3 status, right? We have to pay taxes, so but the 501c3 status means that they don't have to account for near dollar. They don't have to pay nothing, and they get a kickback from the government to keep these people enslaved.
I see you, red wine.
You feel me?
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I was just making the point that 501c3, we have to pay taxes and account for our income, but they don't. And that's why the schisms are so important, because you have 42 different flavors of churches, just in the back, probably more than that, but just to make the point of, they're all teaching a different doctrine to keep the people upside down. And like the commenter said, Hebrew, Greek, and they brokers, all get out. But that's by design though, brother. And that's why we have to think outside of that box, because as long as we're in that box, we can't even fathom a lot of the different, concepts that weren't fed to us from the time we were born.
Ho. So Notorious said that basically his dad chose a female over him. And now he has money, and he said, is he bad for not helping him out? And then, OG, am I wrong for helping him out? Notorious, listen, man, you make your money how you make it, and you helping whoever with your money is your decision. That brings me to something very slight. I'm gonna just do a side convo real quick, very quickly. However you make your money, I mean, legally, of course, under this corporation, however you make your money and whatever you do with your money is your own business. Let me give you an example. Kodak Black had stacks of cash, 30, 40, 50 grand. And he was on a yacht somewhere just throwing out money. And everybody in the black community like, oh, he's stupid, he's dumb, he's stupid, he's dumb, blah, blah, blah. The other day, Kodak Black gave out over 100-something air conditioners. And I know the argument with that is saying, well, he could have done more if he didn't throw out his money in the ocean. You can do whatever you want to do with your money without ridicule. Now, I may not agree, but I'm not going to disagree. I mean, shit, I won't throw away the money. So basically, Notorious, what I'm saying is you can do whatever with your money, regardless of what he, she, or them say. Doesn't even matter. Your money, you made it, you spend it, you get it how you live. Now, on that point, brother, I guess what I'm getting at that there has to be a way for our people to maneuver this space where we can do better than what we're currently doing. And I know this does require some reading or watching or listening. And if we can't read, we can sure damn listen. So understanding the old system of precious metals, gold and silver mostly, versus the system of fiat that's backed by nothing ever since 1971, when Nixon took us off of it, essentially for the world. But the fiat system has always been around in the back shadows, but not until officially until he did it. The question is how we still grow and multiply financially in the current system that we operate in.
That's a great question, because as we sit here, the dollar is slowly devaluing. Like where I'm at, the inflation is just through the roof. So even though you're making $100,000 a year, that probably translates 65,000 in some economies in this country. But it is what it is. So whatever you spend your money on, whatever it is, food, whatever you need, we don't have to live with the like the $400 whatevers and the nice this and like that. In this time, it's all about getting to the next day. Get it, like just survival. You know what I mean? And over the last 40 years, there's an ebb and there's a flow in every economy. Right now, we in a kind of a recession or whatever, depression, whatever you want to call it. But from now until whatever, save a little bit when you can, make sure your bills are paid, your credit score is okay, et cetera, et cetera. But when you're dealing in a fiat system, there's always an ebb and a flow. There is never a consistency. There's always something. You know what I mean? So that's just the nature of the beast. But at the end of the day, you keep your family strong. You do whatever it takes to keep food on the table, and everything else that's not a necessity, push it to the back. You know what I mean? And that's how we've always survived in this country. You know what I mean? We're not driving Bentleys. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it takes to get to work, etc. You follow me on that?
Brother, I would like to thank you for your time and your knowledge. As always, it's been a pleasure with us on camera or off camera. And I absolutely agree with you. We as a people, I know that we're very intelligent. I know that we have the capacity to do better than what we're doing. But we need people like yourself and others to not only motivate, but educate our people. If we can do it for one, we can possibly have a disease that grows like a wildfire, but we can do better in our life. Again, this is K-Dub. This is my brother. I love him very much. Thank you for your information, brother. Please stay on after the video. We're going to rock out real quick. We're going to listen to some music for a couple of minutes, maybe less than that. But this is Financial Literacy 101. Learn money and be inspired. And regardless of what you belong to and what you believe, we got to get on this money. Everybody have a good night. It's been a pleasure. Great conversation. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. I do a cigar talk either Friday or Saturday night. Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I do a stock review. Tuesdays and Thursdays, I give financial information, how to build a business, get out of debt, savings, investing. You know it. I got it. One more minute, we're going to get out of here. Hey. Let's close this thing down. Good evening, Red Wine. Good evening, Conscious Music. Always a pleasure, brother. Good evening, Jermaine Anderson. Thanks for the support. Thank everybody for watching. A really good discussion tonight. We covered a lot of topics. On a high intelligent level. My brother, my love, Keith, K-Dub. Really important discussion. Probably a discussion you never heard like before, because we went into the weeds. We went into the mountains and we brought the people back. And it's all about money on this channel, baby. It's about making that money. And sometimes you have to reach those intellectuals. You have to reach those people who need to come down a couple of levels and say, to live this life, you need money, baby. Hey.